John McGolney took his eyes off the envelope and stared into his kitchen. It was dark. Glowing lines cut through the shadows like an electric blade. The envelope lay lit on the counter. It was a thing alive. John believed he could smell it. This man, this breathing man with breath like a wounded bull, felt sick, worried, and the need to vomit came on him like an accident. Jesus. His eyes tried to focus on the dark points of the kitchen. He tried to see, but the shadows could only come so close. He stared at the photos, scattered pell-mell on the floor, snippets of black and white at his feet, dozens of 8x10s. His right leg weakened, and his hand shot out to grip the counter. He tried to remember. That last goddamn time, was it my hands? Or the hammer? He couldn't remember. Magnificent lines like fine plumes of smoke jigged across his vision, and he held the counter harder, held it like he was holding on to the last wisp of his sanity. For the second time, his stomach heaved, and this time there was no stopping it. Thick and viscous, it bubbled from his lips, soaked his shirt, landed with a plop on the linoleum floor. Right from his guts. It felt like it was his guts. Like someone had taken a fine blade and cut a smile into his belly, letting loose the churning things inside. The yellow-gray viscera, the worming reds, the bruised purples. He vomited until there was nothing left, and then he vomited some more. A low moan came from somewhere deep within him, deeper than those roiling intestines and his tribal drum heart, deeper than his toes that he couldn't feel touching the floor, deeper than that, deeper than earth, rock, ash, and hell. It came from the deepest thing he knew. It came from his past. The photographs are spilled across the floor like a cut deck of cards gone awry. Half of them were still in the envelope, and there they would stay. John had seen enough. I need to look at the return address, he thought. But the idea of moving, of actually reaching out and touching that thing, made his hands shake. A gaseous burp escaped his lips. Satan is waiting. Without warning, his face crumbled, and hot tears stung his cheeks. How long since he had used that expression? How long since he had cried? The envelope. His eyes sought it out, and he had to squint off the haze of cloud to see it properly. His name, his address, written in letters so uniform they could have been a typeface. No return. Then his gaze drifted, and he realized that there were no stamps either. No postage. Whoever had sent this had brought it to his house. My home, he thought, and it filled him with a fear so stark he felt his mind trip. My home, with me in it, and Arabelle. As though his thoughts were so strong that he heard them calling through the floorboards, he heard the steps of his daughter above, the skipping steps that only 8-year-old girls possess, and he traced their movement across the ceiling above him, so distant that he could almost see her brown curls bouncing, the half-peeled scab on her knee from last week when she tumbled off her scooter, yet didn't cry. She was leaving her room, and his eyes followed the sound, turning left in the hall, past the bathroom. She was headed for Arabelle! The word shot out of his mouth on the slippery grease of vomit,